All right, what's on the bench today? It's obviously a power supply out of some piece of equipment, and it's an odd design, so I thought we would walk through this design and see what the original designers were thinking. So the first strange thing is there seems to be two power supplies, this one and this one. And you'd say, okay, well that's fine, this happens to have some frequencies or some voltages, and this one has some voltages. And these two wires here are AC. AC comes into this supply, and AC comes into this supply, and then they go out to their merry way and do their thing. And that's not true in this particular design. As it turns out, this supply creates a DC voltage which goes into this supply, which creates two different DC voltages. So you have a switcher going into a switcher. So why would you do that? That's a really, really bizarre thing to do. And I've got an answer, but there's also some questions. First of all, let's just take this power supply here. It's classic design, and there's a big connector here, and only two wires are used. And one is ground and the other is some voltage, okay? And, but on the bottom, the actual layout, you can see that there are multiple voltages, or at least multiple things coming out onto that connector, okay? Well, I measured all the voltages on the connector, and this is a nice supply. It's +5 and ±15. So it's a triple output supply. So this is like the perfect supply to put in projects. +5 for your digital logic and ±15 for all of your op amps and stuff, right? This is a real nice supply. Yeah, so the wires coming into that supply are a green wire, a blue wire, and a white wire. So there's AC and then an earth ground. The earth ground connects to a little lug here. So anyway, that all completely makes sense, okay? So, so this is triple output. Which one of those is sent to this board? Well, it's the +15. So the +5 and the -15 are not used. That's kind of a shame, but anyway, they have +15 going into this board. Well, what does this board do? It takes that +15 and runs it into a DC to DC converter, a switcher, and it converts that 15 volts into 8.5, okay? And I don't know why 8.5, kind of a strange voltage, but that's what it is, 8.5. And then they also run that 8.5 DC that they've just created into a linear regulator. That's a 5-volt regulator, so they create +5. So you got +15 coming in and +8.5 and +5 going out. Now you already had +5 here, but they created it again over here. So your first thought might be, okay, well, maybe this thing was noisy and they added a second board to clean it up. They had some circuits that needed real clean voltages, and maybe they put that over here. So at first glance, I thought maybe these two inductors were actually filters. But they're for the switching supply. Maybe the little one there is for filtering, but the big one's for a switcher, okay? So, why would you do such a thing? Okay, the other interesting thing is if you look at this board, the 15 volts comes in, but also there's these two wires here coming in. And at first you would think that was from this mess over here, which is a fuse and a power cord. So you've got 110 volts coming in here. And so that wire there must be 110 volts. So why would you bring in 110 AC into this thing? And it didn't seem to be used. The 15 was coming in and getting done. Well, that's not true. This wire is not 110 volts AC, okay? The way that this works is it comes to this connector. So let me open this connector. So this connector is a 5/6 pin connector. And this is a AC power cord. So I think the way this thing works is if you're in a environment where you have access to AC voltage, you plug this cable in. And then if you're in the field and you need to run this off a battery, then you use one of these other pins on the connector, and you have a power supply that's a battery that attaches it here. And that battery voltage is the one that comes out on these two wires. So you've got a battery coming into here. And you've got these two diodes down here that are switching. If it sees this one, it uses that one. If it sees the battery, it uses that one. What do I mean by diode switching? Let me draw it out. Okay, so you've got a power supply that's plus 15 here, and you've got a battery that's, let's say, plus 12 here, and they come into this board that has plus 8.5 and plus 5 on the output. Okay, and so this one comes in, and this one comes in. And then on this board, you have a diode here, and you have a diode here. And then they go and do the thing. So if the circuit sees the plus 15, it says, okay, I'm going to use that. If it sees the plus 12, I'm going to use that. And if they actually had both plugged in, the 15 is higher than the 12, so it would just use the 15. So that's what those two diodes are right down there. Are these two diodes? They're pretty healthy too. They're like 3 amp diodes. So yeah, there you go. That's what this crazy mess is. Now, other questions are, it only seems as though the 8.5 volts is used. That's what this is, okay? And it's on a funny connector. Now, maybe this was added later for some project, and anyway, I won't take it apart. But there's just 2 wires here, so it's possible that goes to the circuit inside the thing, and that just plugs onto there, and they needed 8.5 volts for whatever. And the 5 volt wasn't used, so maybe they just picked this up off the shelf. So if you're buying power supplies off the shelf, and you're not a power supply expert, and your product doesn't really have a problem with cost, you just buy things off the shelf. So you found this off the shelf, or maybe they built this one, I'm not sure. It looks like it's a little bit custom because of these 2 things, but maybe they found this off the shelf. They obviously did find this one off the shelf. So my guess is they found this solution, and they needed a plus 15 supply. And they could have just found a single 15 volt supply. But maybe they have a different product line that uses this power supply, and they have a whole bunch of them. Maybe they have a discontinued product line. Maybe they have 100 of these in stock. There was some reason to use this. Even though they were going to use the plus 5 or the minus 15, there was some reason to use this, probably because they had a lot of them, or they got a good deal, and this one was super cheap, or it was the only one they could get at the time. I don't know. There's some reason that they use this. Finding this off the shelf would be kind of a stretch. I think this was probably made for them, this Savvy Technology. Either Savvy Technology was the maker of the big box, the whole product, or they had this custom made for them. It's a simple little design. So yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, very strange. Very strange. It's only about an 1.5 amp supply, so it's not outputting a whole bunch. Anyway, thoughts and comments. Are the guys just a bunch of idiots that don't know what they're doing? Do you believe my story that this is just what they had? I don't know. If you were going to build a custom board, why didn't you just have it do the other part as well? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of questions about this one. They did put a nice piece of Lexan on top of it, 1/4 inch thick, just to hold everything together and keep you from zapping yourself. So that's kind of nice. Anyway, it's very, very interesting. The power cord is just a regular AC3, warning, Will Robinson, 92 to 175 VAC only. Oh my goodness. So yeah, well, this supply is definitely of value in my shop because it does all the voltages that are necessary in lots of cool projects. This one, maybe someday, I don't know.